you know it's that time of the year. We started last semester with what?
The wagon.
We had our little wagon. And then in our wagon, we had 3 boxes. Our first box is what? Therapeutic modalities, and that includes things like
Ultrasound.
E-stem,
Cryotherapy.
ultrasound, cryotherapy,
Laser.
heat. Lasers are really coming back in style. We then went to
Therapeutic exercise.
therapeutic exercise, which includes things like what?
Functional biometrics.
Functional,
The short-term goals.
plyos, short-term goals,
Long-term goals.
long-term goals. They're short, they're long. Okay. What else?
Eccentric.
Eccentric, concentric.
Biomechanics, biokinetics.
Yes.
Yeah,
We have to know biomechanics, we have to know bioenergetics, and why do we need to know that?
because everybody lives somewhere, and how you figure out what type of movements they're gonna do.
Yes, we have to figure out where the beast live and what the beast does. And then
Manual therapy.
we added manual therapy. And what components fall under manual therapy? Massage.
Myofascial release.
Yes.
Yeah, mostly not.
Mobes. What's the difference between a mobe and a glide?
One is vigilant.
And the other moves
it. More like distraction and whatnot. I don't know how to put it into words right now.
Well, you're right. The glide is where you're literally gliding over the joint, the bone over the bone, and you're trying to release the capsule. And then the mobes can be distraction. We're doing AP movements. We're doing inferior, superior movements. So when I met you in August, we talked about a wagon. And we talked about, as we move through these 2 semesters together, we need to figure out how big is your wagon going to get. And I wrote that question on a few of your exams. And remember how you did the redo? Most of you did an amazing redo. And what I want you to look at is the table up front. We have 2 weeks left of class. And these are examples from other classes. This is where you started. This was the wagon that you started with in August. And you have the potential to graduate to a monster truck, or to a huge truck with all the knowledge that you've placed in your trucks. So in these next 2 weeks, before you take your final exam, and before you do your case study, the last case study that you'll be doing with me, you need to figure out where you're going to be. Who's going to stay here?
No.
Who wants to move over to one of these?
Dump truck.
Dump truck? Okay, so I'm going to be buying more dump trucks. Awesome. All right, when we're talking this week, Monday we talked about Pilates. Remember? Today we're going to do yoga, and there are similarities in Pilates. You guys can actually sit down if you want. Similarities in Pilates and yoga. And if you remember the Pilates, what was the big thing we kept having to focus on with Pilates?
Core.
The core, and what about the core?
Keeping it all tight and
Keeping
then
it
your back straight.
Keeping it tight. Do we keep our back straight, or do we?
You can see
Yes, you do that C curve. And what is happening when we put the spine in that C curve? It puts us in what position? Neutral or functional. So as soon as we can tighten and get in that C curve, it actually fires and engages all of the core muscles. So then we know that any exercise we're doing after that at that point, everything's involved, and then we're going to have the proper firing sequence. Okay? What we want to play with today is yoga. And I want you to be mindful as we go through this that yoga has many purposes. What you're going to feel and hear immediately is what? A lot of times we use it for relaxation and for focus. And we're going to do a little bit of this video. I want primarily for you to focus on the cues that she's giving you. She's going to talk to you about breathing. Breathing is critically important. Technique is just as important. And very similar to Pilates, it's not how fast you go or how many you do. It's having the proper technique and doing it with the right breathing motion. Does that make sense? So let's go ahead. We're going to do part of the routine, which is called letting go of the day. So what I want everyone to do before I turn it on is spread out a little bit so you have enough room. You're going to be laying down. Okay? And I'll turn off this front light so you can see this. We're probably going to do this for about 5 or 6 minutes, again, just so that you can get the basics down. And then we're going to go into the weight room. I'm going to set up stations. You're going to partner up. And then you're going to instruct, but also do the different yoga positions that I have on the poly spots. Because I need you to feel it, and I also need you to be able to teach it. Does that make sense? Okay, let's see what she says, and let's listen to her instructions.
Lie on your back and pull your knees to your chest for recline.